Noon starts right now.
Frigid temperatures are coming back this week.
And for some folks, it might bring back flashbacks about last year's winter storm, but that's not what we're expecting to see this week.
And this noon, state leaders maintain the Texas power grid is ready. During a press conference today, Governor Greg Abbott, joined by the Public Utility Commission and ERCOT, assured Texans that changes have been made since the winter storm. And the PUC says it expects those changes will make a difference.
The grid is ready and reliable. We expect to have sufficient generation to meet demand throughout this entire winter weather event. Texans have seen the impact of the landmark reforms. We went through an extremely cold February last winter and a record-breaking summer and delivered power throughout without disruption. These landmark reforms include winterization of infrastructure, both generators and poles and wires. We have more power available than ever before. We've got more backup fuel, and we've mapped the critical interactions between the natural gas system and our power generators. We will call on our industrial demand response before we ask homes to conserve power, and we will continue the consistent communication between our partner agencies, including the Railroad Commission, TxDOT, and of course ERCOT.
And that press conference taking place a little bit over an hour ago. So the PUC says all of these reforms are about prioritizing people over profits.
Let's go ahead and take a look outside. 42 degrees, RJ. I know I'm pretty excited to be inside, not out in that. It looks gloomy, but Sarah, we don't see any precipitation, so that's a good sign.
Exactly. And, you know, I know that when we're talking about the power grid, it really does make a lot of people anxious because of what we experienced back in February 2021. But I want to put your minds at ease. Yes, it's going to get cold. Yes, you'll need to prepare for freezing temperatures. But here's some things to consider. Let's take a look at Texas travel. It's going to be good. We're not going to have any snow around Texas, any substantial wintry precipitation. So dry roads. Also, keep in mind that no ice, no rain even around Texas, so that when temperatures drop down to freezing, we're not going to see any puddles freeze or anything like that. And the afternoons are going locally around San Antonio. We're going to be above freezing on Friday through the Christmas weekend. So although temperatures will be below freezing for a few hours at a time, we do not anticipate a long-term freeze. Outside right now, you can see the mist out there. It's 42 degrees rather, and visibility is down to about a mile because of fog and mist. It is a gloomy afternoon with visibility as low as 4 miles near Port SA, as low as 7 miles at Stinson, but this is improving as we speak. Here's a look at where that cold core of air is right now. 24 below in Montana, 14 below in parts of Wyoming, 12 below up in North Dakota. That cold core of air is going to be spilling across Texas tomorrow. You'll really feel the cold by tomorrow night. And I've got to look ahead into exactly how cold it's going to be in San Antonio for how long coming up in a few minutes. Lee, our
Well, the United States Supreme Court pausing the end of the pandemic-era immigration restriction known as Title 42 on Monday, just 36 hours before that was set to expire. That potential expiration causing major concerns at the Texas-Mexico border, one of them an influx in border crossings. And our Jonathan Cotto has been reporting from the border and tells us what the situation is like in Del Rio and what this pause represents for that community and its leadership.
Lee, RJ, thousands are waiting to cross into the U.S. in the El Paso sector. Thousands have already crossed. And here in Del Rio, shelters and nonprofit organizations overwhelmed. They are saying they simply don't have the resources. Now, I can tell you that the number of border crossings has doubled in the last fiscal year. But the situation here in Del Rio isn't as dire, at least not for now. According to CBP, just in this month alone, there have been more than 100,000 encounters, of which a little more than 79,000 of those have been under Title 42, a figure many say will spike if Title 42 officially comes to an end. We spoke with Congressman Henry Cuellar, who says that Title 42 is not an immigration issue. It was a health order that was used to slow down the number of people crossing into the U.S. during the pandemic. If that law ends, what policy will the federal government set in place that would allow a proper path for asylum seekers? Cuellar acknowledging that Title 42 will eventually go away. This is what he had to say.
What we're trying to look at what really works. So last week I sat down with Tony and I sat down with the CBP leadership in DC to say, hey, look, listen, what can we do to put things in place that can be humane, that can provide the migrants a respect and dignity, but at the same time, we follow the laws that we have in our books. And that's what Tony and I have been doing.
Cuellar says he is hopeful the extension will give the federal government some time to get a policy in place that helps. I can tell you not everyone is as optimistic. We spoke with some local nonprofits who say this has to be and should have always been a priority. Lee, RJ, I have to add, there's been a lot of question as to why the shift in migration and why areas like the El Paso sector is seeing an increase in border crossings and not other areas like here in the Del Rio sector. And that's because we're being told that criminal organizations are ultimately who decide where those migrants go to. And those criminal organizations are on the other side of the border. Later today, we'll be heading over to Eagle Pass to assess the migrant situation there and speaking with nonprofit organizations who are dealing with that increase and also making preparations for the cold weather ahead. Reporting from Del Rio, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT12 News.
Jonathan, thank you. Yesterday, the Biden administration issued a response arguing the Title 42 policy should be lifted since the public health threat from COVID has passed. Today, several GOP states issued their final filing urging the court to rule in their favor.
5 men have been indicted in federal court accused of going on a burglary spree, stealing guns from several vehicles. According to court documents, Alejandro Arias, Andrew Riojas, Victor Valenciana, Ariano Villarreal, and Richard Hernandez were part of a burglary crew that targeted Ford pickup trucks between July 2021 and January of 2022. The group allegedly targeted trucks in high traffic areas like store parking lots. Investigators accuse them of stealing firearms and other pricey items, and sometimes even the trucks themselves. Each suspect is facing several charges. Their trials are scheduled for next month.
This noon, police are trying to make sense of a shooting on the northeast side that left 2 women hurt. It happened just before midnight last night on O'Connor Road near Fountainwood Drive. 3 people were sitting in a car when someone started shooting at them. Now, police say 2 women were hurt. One grazed by a bullet in the back of her head. The other hit by broken glass. They were both taken to the hospital. There was a 3rd person with them. They're okay. The shooter took off before police arrived.
And accident investigators are trying to figure out what went wrong behind the wheel for one driver overnight. That woman was killed when she lost control of her car, causing it to roll over on a West Side highway. As Katrina Weber reports, police say not wearing a seatbelt played a big role in her death.
Plans to travel from one highway to another took a deadly turn for a 25-year-old driver. San Antonio police found her wrecked car with an injured passenger still inside at the bottom of the ramp from Loop 410 to Highway 151. Outside the wreckage is where they found the driver, identified as Sabrina Lynn Gracia. Officers say she was thrown from the car after she lost control of it around 2:30 this morning. They say she was not wearing a seatbelt and died before help could get to her. The passenger, another woman in her 20s, was taken to a hospital. You could see that this was a very forceful and violent crash. Earlier, there was debris scattered all over that ramp. Cleaning it all up would take hours. In the middle of the mess, accident investigators worked trying to put the pieces together and understand exactly what caused the crash. They say the Ford Fusion appeared to be the only car involved in the crash. As it rolled over, it bounced off a barricade on one side of the highway and hit one on the other side. Police kept the highway shut down during their investigation, which lasted more than 3 hours. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
San Antonio International Airport says it's bouncing back after the pandemic, and a popular nonstop flight is coming back next year. Daily nonstop flights to Kansas City are set to return. This comes as the airport celebrates some milestones. For the first time in the airport's recovery, there were more passengers in November 2022 compared to November 2019.
A heartwarming tradition is continuing this year. Meals on Wheels clients will get an extra treat with their holiday meals this week. It will include a card written by someone in the community. Meals on Wheels says Bubble Bath Car Wash does this every year. They ask their customers to write holiday cards. Then the businesses deliver them to Meals on Wheels.
Yeah, our clients love it. You know, most of them live alone. They don't have family that they can spend the holidays with. So, you know, besides a meal and a safety check, they get to have a nice card to go with their meal written by someone in the community who, you know, is saying that they care about them.
Great idea there. And anyone interested in helping Meals on Wheels can fill out a volunteer form on its website. All right, coming up a little bit later in sports, what are the Cowboys saying today about signing star wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. right before the playoffs? We have the latest.
Toys are a big part of the holiday season, and not just for children. How adults can enjoy a nostalgic trip down memory lane at the Whitty.
Welcome back. Adults can relive cherished memories from their childhood with retro toys at the latest exhibit at the Whitty Museum.
Tiffany Huerta shows us how these toys reveal how play has been the same for generations.
What was your favorite toy as a kid? Maybe it was the Ninja Turtles, the Transformers, or a Superman doll. A new exhibit at the Whitty has dozens of new and retro toys to explore.
When Leslie Ochoa looks at these dolls, many memories come back.
Playing in my grandparents' house.
Ochoa is the director of collections at the Whitty Museum and has some of her toys at the latest exhibit called Toys the Way We Play.
This is my personal Cabbage Patch doll that I got when I was 6 years old for Christmas. She was one of my favorites. I named her Rebecca when I adopted her.
Ochoa says while toys have changed, play hasn't changed over time.
We actually have a fiber doll that is 4,000 years old, found in Hines Cave in Valverde County, that demonstrate that play has been universal. It's been around for a long time.
Every toy here has a story behind it.
A lot of the historic toys are from the Whitty's permanent collection, but some of the more recent nostalgic retro toys are actually on loan to us from Whitty staff.
You can walk down memory lane and play along the way in this exhibit. It's open until April 2023. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT12 News.
Pretty cool stuff there. Taking you outside with live cam. It's a little foggy out there, and we're getting ready for a big dip in temperatures.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, if you think 42 is cold, how about 18?
Yikes.
That's the forecast low on Friday morning. Absolutely yikes there. All right, but the aquifer is up 1/10 of a foot over the past 24 hours. And in today's pollen count, we've only got molds and mountain cedar, and they're both low. So that's some good news there. Let's go ahead and take a look at temperatures over the next few days. This is what we're talking about. Tomorrow we'll briefly get into the 60s before that Arctic cold front arrives. It'll be 18 on Friday morning, 20 on Saturday morning, 22 on Sunday. But we are going to see sunshine, so we aren't going to be below freezing for too long around San Antonio. Things to keep in mind: will be windy, so tie down those Christmas decorations. Very cold with wind chills on Friday morning, dangerously cold. But here's the good news: no ice or snow around Texas, so travel will not be a problem. I'll go into these details coming up in the full forecast after this.
Welcome back. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas, but thankfully, Sarah, it's not looking a lot like Christmas.
We're not going to have a white Christmas. We're not going to have many travel issues around the state of Texas as it is. We don't anticipate any travel issues across the state of Texas, but we do expect very cold air moving in tomorrow, and you'll want to prepare for that. Let's go ahead and just talk briefly about what's going on out there right now. It's 42 degrees. These clouds have been stubborn. We've got southwest winds, fairly calm at the moment. Visibility is down to 2 miles, but that is improving. Take a look at satellite and temperatures. Starting to see a little bit of clearing out near Hondo right now, but generally we're locked into cloud cover around south central Texas. That's why temperatures are in the low 40s. And a wider view here, a little bit more sun down south toward Cotulla, Carrizo Springs. That's why temperatures are in the 50s out there. And throughout the rest of the afternoon, we could be seeing a few peaks of sunshine, but generally staying locked into the cloud cover. High temperature right near 50 degrees. And tonight temperatures will be in the 40s. If you think that's cold, just wait until tomorrow night, because it's going to be well below freezing by tomorrow night. Let's talk about the weather setup in that cold cold front on the way. Across the northern tier of the United States, there are some areas of snowfall. That's where the main travel issues will be today across the United States with that snow. But temperatures behind this front are very cold. We're talking 24 below in Cut Bank, 14 below in Casper, Wyoming, 12 below in Bismarck, even colder across parts of Canada, 45 below Fort Nelson. That's where that cold core of air is that's just going to spill across Texas tomorrow. Let's go through the futurecast temperatures here slowly. This is tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning. More of the same here in San Antonio tomorrow in the morning hours. But look at that, 3 degrees in Amarillo. Then as we head into the middle of the morning, we're going to warm up into the low 50s, low 60s in San Antonio, but that cold front's going to continue to barrel to the south. That cold front will make it to San Antonio right around or shortly after lunch, right around 1 p.m. Until then, we'll briefly warm up into the 60s. So don't expect it to be very cold early tomorrow morning. That cold air will arrive right around 1 p.m. and your weather authority will be live streaming that as it happens on KSAT12 and on YouTube and the KSAT Weather Authority app. Then that front moves through, temperatures are going to instantly fall. So much so that by 6 p.m. we could be at freezing here in San Antonio. That is a massive drop in temperatures in just a couple of hours. Then by Friday morning, it will be very cold. Temperatures will be in the teens in San Antonio. So just to recap tomorrow for you, waking up with some patchy fog, getting up to about 62 degrees by 1 p.m. and then that front moves through, and by 5 p.m. it's going to be in the 30s. By 9 p.m. it's going to be in the 20s and windy, with winds sustained from the north at 20 to 30 miles per hour. This is a look at Friday morning's temperatures. 14 in Kerrville, 15 Canyon Lake, 19 in Del Rio, 22 Carrizo Springs, 20 in Pleasanton. Neighborhood view here, 17 in Lotus, 19 in New Braunfels and Seguin, 12 in Bernie and Bulverde, and with those winds howling from the north at about 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 45. It could feel like it's in the single digits. So if you have last minute shopping early Friday morning, bring the parka. I'm not even kidding. And a lot of scarves too, because you do not want to be exposed to that kind of cold for too long. Here's the thing though, we're going to have sunshine, no ice, no snow, no hazards on the roadways. And we will be able to warm up to above freezing in San Antonio on Friday afternoon with a high temperature of 35. But we do anticipate another hard freeze Saturday morning and Sunday morning, Christmas morning, but we will warm above freezing on Saturday and Sunday. Now, parts of the hill country could be below freezing for about 48 hours from Thursday night through about Saturday midday, and I'll be showing those details a little bit more, but here in San Antonio, we'll probably only be below freezing for up to 18 to 24 hours. So all of your answers in the second half hour here of the news at noon.
Yeah, when we look at those Saturday, Sunday temperatures, Santa Claus going to feel right at home. He has his big, bulky jacket. He's ready to go deliver those presents. Nothing's standing in that guy's way.
Yeah.
He's good.
It's true. Although RJ's beard does rival Santa's.
Oh,
It does.
well, I wouldn't go that
He's
far.
working on
no
it.
way. No way. Yeah. Give me some more time and maybe some more white hair too there.
Exactly.
I'll be one of those people in the parka because I have not finished my Christmas shopping. But coming up in sports here, an NFL icon passes away this morning days before his number is retired by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And will Jalen Hurts play against the Dallas Cowboys? We have the latest from his head coach coming up right after the break. Welcome back. The NFL world mourning today the loss of Pittsburgh Steelers great Franco Harris. Harris died overnight at the age of 72. The cause of death has not been announced, and he's arguably best known for one of the most iconic plays in NFL history called the Immaculate Reception. That was a game-winning touchdown catch which led the Steelers to victory over the Raiders in the 1972 playoffs. Harris died days before the 50th anniversary of that play, and his number 32 being retired by the team this Saturday. He was enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame back in 1990.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
All right, now to some Cowboys news. The possibility of signing free agent wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. is dwindling after it was kept alive originally by Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. But today he faced the fact that that window is closing for this season. The plan had been if the Cowboys signed OBJ, he would be placed on injured reserve, meaning that he would have to miss at least 4 games. But there are only 3 games left in the regular season, which means Beckham would not be available until after the wild card playoffs. And when you consider the Cowboys have not advanced past the divisional round since 1995, 25, we may not even see him get on the field. Jones admitted on his radio show in Dallas that OBJ becoming a Cowboy is fading.
As of this morning, we don't have anything, but I don't have an assessment. The reality is, though, that time is moving on down the road relative to being playing in the playoffs, and so every day diminishes our chances of getting going forward.
All right, let's talk about the Cowboys' upcoming opponent. That would be the Eagles, who could be without their star quarterback, Jalen Hurts. You see him behind me when Philadelphia plays Dallas on Christmas Eve in a key NFC East showdown. You see the replay right there. Hurts suffered a sprained shoulder the other day when he was driven to the ground by Travis Gibson in the third quarter of the Eagles' 25-20 win over the Chicago Bears, and that win pushed Philly to a 13-1 record. So the Cowboys are now 10-4, coming off of their unexpected loss in overtime to the Jaguars in Jacksonville, but the Eagles head coach says don't count out Jalen Hurts just yet.
I do not put it past Jalen Hurts. I don't put anything past Jalen Hurts as far as his mental and physical toughness. So there's a chance he could play this week. And so he is one of the toughest guys I know. And he heals fast. He's a freak.
All right, moving on to some college ball here. Following the University of Incarnate Word's record-setting football season, 5 members of the team have earned All-America honors. That includes starting quarterback Lindsey Scott Jr. He was named first-team All-America after throwing for 60 touchdowns and scoring another 11 on the ground, helping the Cardinals to their first-ever FCS National Semifinals game, where they unfortunately lost to the defending champion North Dakota State 35-32. How about these other guys? Wide receiver Taylor Grimes and linebacker Keliciana Libici were selected to the second team after Grimes scored 15 touchdowns this season, and Anya Libici led the Cardinals with a total of 114 tackles. Receiver Darian Chafin secured a spot on the third team after leading the team with 18 touchdown catches, and Cole Wilson was named to the freshman All-American team after returning 2 punts for touchdown. It's good to see those local guys getting some props there. Season over, but shout out to UIW.
There we go. Well, as we approach the holiday weekend, cooking a healthy meal might not be at the top of your list, but not all holiday treats have to be guilty eats. We'll share the swaps you can make when mixing and baking while still indulging your sweet tooth today at the News on 5.